You are tuned into a special player spotlight interview on the CS Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the CS Podcast presented by the NUC NFL Draft Bible, bringing you the names that you need to know first since 2002. Visit NFLDraftBible.com. And as always, I'm your guys' host, Chris Shanafelt. And we got one last interview to do before I fly on down to St. Petersburg, Florida to cover the East-West Shrine game. And joining the show now for a special player spotlight interview is 2016 NFL draft prospect. He's Zach Mitchell, the center out of Marian University, located in Indianapolis. And over the weekend, Zach accepted the Remington Trophy in New York City as the top center in all of NAIA football. And Zach, congratulations on a tremendous honor. Thanks for joining the show. And what was your reaction when you first found out that you would be the winner of the Remington Trophy for your effort and success this season?
I first got I got the news when we were actually in Daytona Beach, like a day or two before the game. When my assistant athletic director told me, and I was kind of upset because I had just found out that I didn't make an All-American team, and I was kind of upset about that. And then my AD tells me I got an award for the Remington, and I'm like, I didn't know what the Remington was. And then he told me about it, and I was like, well, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's a pretty big honor, and I mean, I'm really honored to be able to receive an award like that not too many people get picked for, and it's always nice when when the big men up front are getting rewarded for something. So.
Yeah, I mean, usually, when offensive linemen get much publicity, it's usually a bad thing. But like you said, this right here was more of a positive thing. And it is kind of weird because, it does sound as if it kind of came out of nowhere because, like you said, you weren't voted as an All-American, but here you are getting a trophy as the nation's top center.
Yeah, for sure.
So, obviously, Marian University, it's an NAIA program, not the biggest school. Can you talk about your journey to Marian University, Zach? I mean, coming out of high school, why did you decide to attend Marian and play for the Knights?
Well, coming out of high school, I was recruited by, at the time, it was the offensive line coach was Adam Sherman, who later went to Walsh University. But he came up to my high school in Decatur Central, and he just preached to me about how they were an early program over here, and that we got the talent to win championships. And he pretty much promised me and guaranteed me that within the next 4 years that I would, I would have a national championship ring, and I would have the opportunity to put the school, on a big map and put them on a spotlight, and for small schools. And another thing he told me was that, the center spot was open, and I only played center for 1 year in high school. So I was like, okay, I mean, I got a good shot, and I was like, yeah, why not? They're going to help me pay for school and go get a good education and play some good football. And here I am first, as a freshman, I came in and was fortunate enough to earn a starting spot, and we made a run, and that was our sixth season, and got our school's first national championship, and I never really looked back since.
And yeah, you mentioned it. I mean, it was a newer program, certainly a program on the rise. I mean, certainly throughout your time there, I mean, it really has been one of the top NAIA programs in the country. And throughout your 4 years at Marian, Zach, you were really able to achieve a lot. I mean, you helped the team appear in, your coach said, he promised you that you'd be walking away with a ring. Well, you appeared in 3 NAIA national championship games, winning 2 of them, including the one just this past season against Southern Oregon. In 2015, you were named to the American Football Coaches Association's NAIA All-American first team. And, of course, this past season, as we've already touched on, you were the winner of the Remington Award. Did you ever think that when you first decided that you would become a Marian Knight, that you would accomplish all of this not only team-wise but individually as well. Like you mentioned, I mean, heading into college, I mean, you only had 1 year of center under your belt.
Yeah, well, I mean, you never expect all this stuff to happen. You always expect and hope for great things to happen, but as a freshman going into a program like this that's on the rise, you don't really know what you're going to get yourself into. And for me personally, I had a rough freshman year, and it took a toll on me, and I'd almost decided to stop playing at one point before my sophomore year, and fortunately enough, I had great teammates and great coaches that wanted to push me to keep playing and convince me to come back. And ultimately, it's people at the school, that helped me want to come back. I didn't want to let some of my best friends down that I had met at the school, and I wanted to make something out of my career and not just stop after one good season. I wanted to continue and build upon that and see if I can help put the school on a bigger spotlight and a bigger stage.
Yeah, and as you mentioned already, you went in there as a true freshman. You were the starting center right away, and if I'm not mistaken, you did start every game of your collegiate career, Zach. It's not every day when you hear about a true freshman starting at any position, but especially center. I mean, what was that like for you? Was that something? I mean, it sounded like it was something that you already anticipated heading in, seeing as the center position was open, that you would at least battle for the starting job. You did ultimately win it. What was that like for you, and what was it like to just get the experience so early on in your collegiate career, and how would you say it's helped you out in the long run?
Well, I mean, coming in, I wasn't necessarily just battling for a center spot. I was just kind of battling for any spot on the offensive line. And then things happened. People got hurt, and that next man up mentality. They threw me in at center, and my freshman year, we had an older group of guys that were along the offensive line, and they really helped me out a great deal because I wasn't necessarily the best at, making all the right calls my freshman year, being so young and so inexperienced on that level. And, they helped me a tremendous amount. And then the coaches, helping me in the film room and helping me with fronts and identifications and all that stuff, that throughout the years, that's helped me mentally get better, which I think is one of the strongest part of my game is my mental ability, at the line of scrimmage and be able to call fronts and read defenses and stuff like that.
Yes, awesome. And obviously, it sounds as if every center needs to kind of know what they're doing when they're calling the fronts, like you mentioned. I mean, getting everybody organized, situated, and kind of giving everybody a heads up as to what might be coming. And that first year of yours, Zach, in 2012, that was the year the Marian Knights won their first NAIA national championship game. Heading into that game, you guys were underdogs, I see. I mean, you guys took on the undefeated Morningside Mustangs. What do you remember from that first national championship game? And again, you guys were able to walk away with the victory in overtime, 30-27. And would you say that winning a national championship as a freshman made you and your fellow freshmen, sophomore and junior teammates even more hungrier for the future?
Yeah, I would definitely say that winning that first championship my freshman year, I think it definitely made the people that were going to stay and continue. I think that made us a lot hungrier for another championship because just tasting that success, we just wanted to stay on top, and unfortunately things didn't work out for that next season. But we were able to recoup for my junior and senior year and make some good runs, and it's been a great journey, and really the success as my freshman year, being able to win a championship, you just think you have 3 more years to try to do this again, and it makes me hyped up to get going and try to win at least a couple more championships. And unfortunately, we only got 2 out of the 3 appearances, but I mean, two is better than 0. So
yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, not too many people can say that, they've played in 3 national championship games in 4 years of their collegiate career. I mean, it seems as if every level kind of has their own, I don't know, Alabama type team or North Dakota State type team that's always in the championship game. And doing some research, it certainly looks like you guys over at Marian University were kind of that team, at least over the last 3 or 4 years. And you already mentioned it. The following year as a sophomore, you guys missed the playoffs, finished 6-5, and then in 2014 as a junior, you guys were able to make it back to the NAIA national championship game, but fell to a very talented Southern Oregon team, 55-31, which now brings us back to this past season, your senior year, Zach. The Marian Knights, you guys finished 12-2, and you guys were able to redeem yourself as you guys met Southern Oregon once again for a second straight year in the national championship game, and you guys were able to pull away with it. I see that at one point you guys held a 21-0 lead, and of course the final score of that game, you guys won 31-14. How sweet was it to not only win your second national championship, but to get it against the same team who you guys lost to just 1 year ago?
Yeah, it was. It was really awesome to be able to, get that bad taste out of our mouths from the previous year. And I think in my junior year in 2014, we were the whole trip. We were kind of offbeat. We didn't really feel like ourselves, I think. And then this year, we had that experience under our belt. We knew what it took, and we had pretty much everybody back from the previous year, and we just knew what we had to do to take care of business, and we were able to get it done.
Again, he's the 2015 Remington Award winner, Zach Mitchell, the center at Marian University, an NAIA program located in Indianapolis, joining me here on the CS Podcast, presented by the NUC NFL Draft Bible, bringing you the names that you need to know first since 2002. And, of course, Mitchell is arguably probably the number one offensive lineman coming out of NAIA this year. And, Zach, what would you say are the characteristics needed to play the center position at a high level?
I think, mentally, I think you need to be pretty flexible at, understanding every position and how pairs work out and who you work to and, like I said earlier, front identifications. You pretty much got to know everything that the quarterback should know, and and your job is to be able to lead the other 4 guys next to you, and so that we can all collectively get the job done. And I think that's probably the biggest characteristic you need, and there's just flexibility mentally, and obviously, the physical part comes too, but I think the biggest part is definitely mentally being able to understand defenses and help your other 4 guys bring you along collectively, and all you guys together will get the job done if you have a good center that's able to do that. So.
You touched on the leadership qualities a little bit there, and that brings me up to my next question perfectly. Like a quarterback, Zach, I always think of a center of a football team to be the leader or a leader of a team. Obviously, growing up, I'm in Chicago, Zach, and growing up as a Chicago Bears fan, I remember Olin Kreutz, who was probably the most respected and probably the most feared player in the Bears locker room throughout his time here in Chicago. Talk about your leadership qualities, and would you agree that, thinking that, the center should be one of the leaders on the team, and seeing as you were a 4-year starter, Zach, how did you how long did it take for those leadership qualities to come for you? Were they there right away, or did it take a couple games, a couple months to come along?
Yeah, well, I think my freshman year, coming in as a new, inexperienced young kid, I didn't necessarily have all those leadership skills. Verbally, it's kind of hard for a freshman to usually speak up and do that stuff, but I think I did a pretty good job throughout my career of leading by example and, doing what the coaches asked, showing up to meetings and practices early, and, I think I think that was the strongest part of my leadership, was being able to lead by example. And I've always had a tough time, talking up in front of people. And, I think this year, I think this year I did a pretty good job of kind of breaking out of my shell and speaking up verbally whenever whenever it was needed during practice, or we had some lulls during the game and we needed to get the offensive line going. I think I did a decent job of speaking up, and like I said, I think leading by example. I think I did that pretty much throughout my entire career, just by doing things right and doing what I was asked and being a coachable athlete. So.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's not an easy thing to do, whether it's leading by example or, speaking up and being that voice in the locker room. I mean, that's why there's only so many on each team. I mean, you're rarely going to see a team with, 5, 6, 7 leaders. There's usually only about, maybe 2, 3, or 4. But yeah, that's definitely great to hear. Now, I gotta think that it's every collegiate athlete's dream to get an opportunity at the next level, Zach. I mean, no matter if you play D1, D2, D3, or NAIA, I have to think that it's always the dream. Did you ever think that you would be this close to achieving that dream, though? I mean, obviously we're not there yet, but not many even reach this point where they have 4 or 5 years of college ball under their belt, and of course you're just coming back from New York City to accept the Remington Trophy. I guess, when did you realize that you had what it takes to, or when did you realize you believed in yourself that you had what it takes to play in the league, and that you're going to give this whole draft process a shot?
Just growing up and going through high school football, and it's every high school football player's dream is to go to college and play football and compete for championships and be on a great team, and then eventually try to get their name out there so they can play at the next level. And that's every kid's dream, is to try to play NFL football. And I think throughout the years I've had some good people behind me, with my family and my coaches and my teammates, that they've kept pushing me, and them encouraging me along the way to stay positive. Even coming from a small school, you never know what your chances are of being able to play at the next level. But just their encouragement, throughout the years, it's really helped me out, and it's really, like I said, it's kept me positive about this whole process. And I'm thankful that I have this opportunity, and I'm gonna make the most of it, and hopefully things work out for me and I give my shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Here at the NFL Draft Bible, man, we're certainly rooting for you. My next question is something that I'd like to ask, really all of the prospects that I interview, Zach, and that is, throughout your time playing college ball, we know that there's a lot of talent at every level. I mean, even the NAIA level, you guys have a ton of talent there. Throughout your time playing college ball, who would you say is the best single player that you've had to play up against? I mean, does anybody specific stand out on the defensive line?
Honestly, probably the best defensive lineman I've ever played against would be a kid named Jamar Wilhite, who's one of my best friends and a teammate of mine, has been a teammate for the past 4 years. We actually went to kind of rival high schools, and I played against him in high school, and then being able to come here and I competed against him throughout team camps and spring ball for 4 years, and going against him, it's definitely made me a better player. And he's a great athlete in himself, and another great player that I actually played against in high school and then in games as well. He went to University of Indianapolis. His name was Lee Campbell, and I got the opportunity to play against him this past season for the first time in a Marian versus University of Indianapolis game, and we went at it back and forth, and he's a great player, big and physical and athletic kid. So definitely Lee Campbell and Jamar Wilhite are probably the two best defensive linemen that I think I've ever faced.
All right, I'm going to have to write those names down. Now, again, he is the center, Zach Mitchell of Marian University, joining me here on the CS podcast, presented by the NUC NFL Draft Bible, as he gets set for the 2016 NFL Draft. And, Zach, do you have any idea what pro day you'll be participating in, and do you plan on taking part in any regional combine?
Yeah, actually, I've already signed up and been accepted to the regional combine on March 5th in Minnesota at the Vikings practice facility. So that's the for sure one that I have right now. I'd like to hopefully get in our local talent day for maybe the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not too sure about the dates on those, but I plan on going to those. And then, the local schools, IU and Ball State, they usually have their own pro days, and I'm currently working on getting into those. I know Ball State just had a coaching change, so I'm not too sure about that one. But IU and Ball State are the two local pro days that I'd like to get into, and help me get some exposure over there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, sounds great. So as of right now, you will for sure be participating in the Minnesota Vikings or the regional combine located in Minnesota at the Minnesota Vikings practice facility. That's great. Moving on, what would you say, what are some things that you've been doing since your season has been over? I mean, again, I know that you were just in New York City. I got to think that you've been giving your body a little time to rest, but have you been training anywhere to get set for that regional combine?
Yeah, actually, after the championship game, I took a few weeks off, because my body just needed a rest from football since early August and late July. But I just recently started working out again, and my strength coach up here at Marian, his name is Vernon Smith. We just got some new weight room equipment, and he's been putting me to work over here. And I have a good friend by the name of Cleveland Witherspoon who was also going to train me. So I'm really counting on these two guys to help me out and get me to the next level and get me where I need to be.
Awesome. Now, I do see that the Marian Knights Athletics website has you listed at 6'3", 300 pounds. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right, great. Obviously, great size for an offensive lineman. Now, we're going to end this interview with something I like to call the 2-minute drill, Zach. Some of these questions will be football-related, and quite honestly, some will just be random questions that can be about just about anything. Are you ready to knock some of these out?
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, we'll start off with what is your favorite TV show and movie?
My favorite TV show is probably SportsCenter or Breaking Bad. I would constantly have ESPN on my television. So, and movie, man, there's a lot of good movies out there. Honestly, one of my favorite movies is probably Coach Carter.
Awesome. That's funny that you mentioned that. I swear just about 2 nights ago, I actually just watched Coach Carter for probably about the 10th time. Definitely a great movie. Moving on, who would you say you model your game after? I mean, is there anybody, a past player, a current player in the NFL that you kind of watch and you try to take bits and pieces and add them on into your game? Yeah,
actually, a guy that I've watched for a long time, Jeff Saturday, who I actually had the pleasure of meeting this past weekend. I've always watched him, and when I first got moved to center, that was somebody that I always compared myself to, just because of our height and our body type is similar, and the way he played, being a little bit smaller as a center, he was still a physical guy who was able to get after pretty much anybody he was playing against, and also his mental ability at the line of scrimmage, being able to change calls and make calls. I really think that my game definitely models and looks like a little bit like his.
Awesome, and yeah, a few times you've kind of touched on the mental aspect of the center position, and I gotta think Jeff Saturday is probably one of the smarter centers to ever play in the NFL, seeing as if he spent years and years with Peyton Manning, who always likes to make the changes and whatnot at the line of scrimmage, which would force Jeff Saturday to kind of make some changes himself. You mentioned that you met him over the weekend. What was that like, seeing as this is a guy that you kind of grew up looking up to?
It was awesome, actually. I mean, I had heard that he was going to be one of the guest speakers, and when I saw him, I was able to go up and shake his hand and talk to him a little bit and let him know I was from Indianapolis, and he knew about Marian and knew about how we started up, and we were kind of a new program, and he was able to give me some some positive words of advice, and just about keeping positive and make sure I work hard and don't take anything for granted and get the most out of my chances just from coming from a small school.
Yeah. I mean, that's really cool. That's really great. Now, I suppose moving on, we got a few more questions, and then I'll let you go, Zach. I really do appreciate you taking some time this afternoon. Let's say you got a round trip ticket to travel anywhere you wanted. Where would you go?
Anywhere I wanted.
Anywhere.
You know,
Now we only got
probably-
one round trip ticket though, man. We're on a budget over here. We only got one place.
I'll probably over to Europe or something like that, and just try to go experience another country and see how other people live, and hope eat some different food, learn some different languages, and meet some different people.
Yeah. Hey, sounds great, man. Sounds great. Certainly can't go wrong with going out of the country and kind of experiencing other cultures. Now here's a question that I love asking. It's probably one of my favorite ones. If you could pancake or just lay out any defensive lineman currently playing in the NFL, Zach, who would that be?
Oh man, probably J.J. Watt. Man, he's one of my favorite players in the NFL, and just I was a big fan of Hard Knocks this last season and watched every episode, and like getting the inside view on how he works and all that stuff. It would be an honor to be able to pancake him or lay him out or something like that.
Hey, and I don't think there's really any doubt that he's the best defensive lineman in the league right now. I mean, I guess you could make an argument for Ndamukong Suh as well, but certainly those two guys are the best in the league, and as they say, to be the best, you have to beat the best. So certainly makes sense why you choose J.J. Watt. Now, I know that you offensive linemen like to eat a lot, Zach. Tell me what your favorite restaurant is.
Favorite restaurant? Oh man, that's a tough one. I've been to some good places. My favorite restaurant would probably be Hooters, man. I'm a big fan of the the all you can eat wings on whatever days they have them. So, and I'm a big wing guy. So anytime I can get some wings and eat as many wings as I want to, that's always a good time.
Okay. Now, the waitress is all right, but I mean, seeing as you just said you're a wing guy, I mean, I gotta think you've experienced Buffalo Wild Wings, man. I mean, that's definitely the better place to go.
Yeah, I mean, I like Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know the sauces at Hooters, man. I prefer them over B-Dubs. Oh
man, they must not be doing it right over there in Indianapolis, Zach.
Final
question for you. Yeah. Obviously, I think it's obvious right there. Final question for you, Zach. If an NFL general manager, or let's say we got all 32 NFL general managers lined up and they're listening to this very interview, why should they want the center out of Marian University, Zach Mitchell, part of their team?
I think they should want me because I'm an experienced, hard-working athlete who's coming from a winning program, a small school winning program, who's still kind of in the startup phase. It's only our ninth season, But like I said, I'm coming from a winning program. I've been around winning, and I've had the experience to prove that do what it takes. And I think that my hard work and my effort they would love that, and I think that's what would sell them for me.
Yeah, and you know what? Your agent was able to send me over some of your tapes, some of your highlights, and as they say, the tape does not lie. Obviously, last year you were a All-NAIA first-team All-American. This year you're the winner of the 2015 Remington Award. So all of that certainly speaks for itself. And with that said, Zach, I really do appreciate you taking some time this afternoon. Really had a great time chatting with you, and I'm really wishing you all the best as you get set for the 2016 NFL Draft.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.